Today I'd like to thank C.F.R for sending the golf cart or sports organizer cart. And today, Shopcat and I will show you how to assemble this cart. First, it has a clamshell style shipping box. All the parts and hardware are neatly packed inside, and there are instructions, but I will be showing you how I do it. So I took all the components out of the box, unstrapped everything, cut all the ties to release everything so I could start working on it. All the hardware's already been conveniently separated into separate Ziploc bags, including the wheels. And I'm going to be putting some Loctite on the threads because I'd rather have Loctite than tighten the crap out of everything. And it looks like all the bolts are the same size, so that should simplify things a great deal. Another little tip, I never throw Ziploc bags like this away, because when I'm doing auto repairs, where the bolts go or the small parts, and that way I can organize my small parts and bolts for later. And that way you're not filling up landfills with plastic, because repurposing is much more efficient than recycling. I've got all these small pieces piled up here out of the way, and I'm starting with these 5 pieces, not these 5 pieces here. Okay, I'm going to set the shorter one of these aside for right now. And this one should not have been on top because it goes to the other end. The way you can tell is this is welded right here towards the outside, so that should be on that end to the outside. This one is the opposite. So it goes down here on this end. And that is assuming that this curve is facing toward the front being over here. What I mean by balancing act is that I've got to put this on the end, and the bolts go through the basket, through here, and into here. And I don't have my helper to hold it up for me right now because Shopcat has figured out how to climb ladders. And he's gone up into the rafters and he's up there playing, looking for squirrels and stuff. So he's not helping. And he hasn't figured out how to climb down ladders. So in order to have any help, I'll have to go up there and rescue him when he's done playing. Meanwhile, just have to get creative. Have to do everything with just one person. I do have some help. In the previous video, C.F.R had sent me this, and I've done over half a dozen jobs with it and haven't charged it up in over 6 months. And I'm trying to see how many jobs and how long I can go without charging this battery. Let's see what we can do. Now I got to pull this back out. Get it right on this corner here, so I've got room. Luckily, this stuff is not very heavy. And I have this. Now that's still not tight. I just ran it in there a little bit so that it'll hold it up for me. I don't want the stuff really tight. I want to be able to wiggle stuff around. And now, this is mine, but C.F.R did send a little Allen if you don't have any other tools. There are some tools sent with this, the Allen and a little wrench. Now all I've done is spin this around so I've got the other end accessible and hanging off the edge of the table. So I can start these bolts here. Remember, I did put Loctite on these earlier, so that's why I'm not putting Loctite on them now. This one's going to go here, so I'm going to flip it over on its back. Remember, this curve goes towards me. Okay, I was having trouble getting this one started, so I took this one back loose. I started this one first, and then I pushed this through here. and lifted up on this a little bit and got it started. So now I probably could have done that by flipping the whole thing over and letting gravity work with me on this one down here. But instead of flipping it over, I just took this loose and got that one started, and I'm letting gravity help me get this one started because it was working against me down here. Okay, we've got some small parts to build a little basket up here, but I like to build the basket down here first, and this is why I left all these bolts loose on the bottom so I can move these around. If I build the basket down here and leave these bolts loose, it's easier for me to build the basket up here rather than the other way around. And here's the parts for the other basket. And this is going to have a similar thing to down here on the end, where the bolts go through here, and into here. So again, a bit of a balancing act. 2 bolts to start with. Okay, this is one of the places where I really divert from the written instructions, because building these baskets up in here, there's 2 sets of bolts here so that you can have a choice between putting this tray here, here, or here. And then there's another tray just like this that goes right here. But to complicate things, and to save bolts so that there's not so many bolts, these baskets go here and here for guides, because things will be going down through these holes, and this is actually the basket down here that can keep it from going all the way to the floor. But be that as it may, these bolts go through here and go into here, so that these bolts do double duty, and you don't have to have twice as many bolts, do twice as much work to put twice as many in. Now there's only one set of bolts up here, so where this is adjustable by putting it in one of 2 of these slots, this is not. And I like to start at the bottom and do this one and then this one, because you see I left those loose, and that gives me some wiggle room, and I can work my way up. And when I get up here, I've got these pieces and this tray or shelf or whatever you want to call it, that turns into a basket with these pieces. So let's begin. Now I still haven't tightened all the bolts because I've got some cross braces to put across the back. You see a little bit of a gap right there. This is the longest cross brace. It's got a hole right here on this end. And then it's got the threaded ends on both other ends. I'm going to put this bolt in here first, bring that down, get it started. Because everything is still loose, it's pretty easy for me to get my bolt started. This is still loose at the bottom. I'll bring it in. That bolt started as well. These other bars go front and back between here, and no matter which level you decided to put this little shelf, either here or here, there are 8 holes, so that you can put these cross braces either here or here. There are 2 that have locks and 2 that do not. I'm putting the 2 that do not under here where the basket is, because these would be hard to reach with my foot for locking and unlocking. For the locking and unlocking of these, I'm putting them over here where I can reach that with my foot and work the lock. If you wanted to, if you prefer, you could put the 2 locking ones in the front, so that if you're putting this up against a wall or in a corner where this is going to be in a corner and you don't want this to be in the corner, then both of these locks would be in the front. This little wrench that they sent actually comes in handy for this because it's very thin, and you need a thin wrench to reach in there and grab right there. Spin that. Let's get it down a little further first. See how we have almost no space there? Really thin wrench. And there we go. Nice and snug. And doesn't have to be real tight, just nice and snug, because remember I put Loctite on it. This cart has so many potential uses, it almost feels like I just got another toolbox. Also has all these little hooks, so you can hook things and hang things. And let's get some measurements off of here. This basket right here seems to be 9 3/4 deep, and from side to side, like 9 1/4. Here we've got a 16 1/2 by 9 1/8. 9 1/8 and 16 1/2, and that's going to be the same down here. Now, as far as this height right here, the way I've got this, 6 1/4. I could have stepped up to here, which would have given me a height of 8 inches. From here to here, I've got 10 1/2. From here to here, I've got 8 3/4. On the top here, we've got about 6 inches to here, but of course you can put taller things in here and let them stick out. Bottom there up to here, we have 33 1/2, and across there, 35. Overall, with this sticking out, you need enough wall space to fit 52 inches. And overall height from the floor, looking at 38 inches. And from the bottom there to here, we've got 8 1/4 right there, 9 inches to the top of the rail. And it did come with a strap. it goes around and across here. Okay, just so you know, if you have to go up and down some stairs after building this or through some doorways where you can't easily roll it, yeah, that's pretty easy to carry for one person. Now, of course, you're not going to go through a doorway this way. I would catch on this end and pick up from this end if I'm going through a doorway. So, yes, that is definitely doable. And these right here, they do slide easily, but they're not coming off. They kind of clip on there. It's right here. So if you're taking things on and off of them, they don't just fall off in the floor. They do slide around real easily. So I like that. I like the way those are designed. And I figured out one more little trick. If you grab here, reach under and grab right here, and get your shoulder under there, and you put that on the hip, and just take off with it. Insanely cool cars, tool reviews, and auto repair videos.